It's another exciting Saturday and we are back on your screens to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports, and this is Off the Pitch. I'm your host Amos, aka Amore, and like I said earlier, we are here to give you nothing but the best. But I'm not alone on set. I'm joined by one Augustine. Augustine, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amos. It's always a pleasure to be on set. We return all the glory and honor to the Most High God. A lovely good morning to our viewers out there. We hope to give you nothing but the very best of sports.
And we saw, I think, Augustine, before we even kickstart more into our discussion for today, we saw what happened. I think it was within the course of last week where we saw an incident that happened to our former captain, which is Enoch Mwepu, and we never thought that the condition can go that far.
Yeah, I think our thoughts and prayers are with Enoch Mwepu and the family. But I hope and believe we will get better. I think it's just one of those moments where he had an attack, and but he has recovered very, very well, and he's in good shape now. We just hope he fully recovers from all this, and he'll be back to his normal life.
And so I know, and our prayers were with him and the family, and a lot of Zambians, the majority of Zambians, took time to pray for our former captain, and hopefully his condition will get better as we progress. But for now, we'll just take a very, very short break as we come back and take a look at some of the highlights and the games that took place last week.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours Monday to Friday at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet Channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, and for those who are just joining us, this is Off the Pitch, the show that gives you nothing but the best in terms of sports. And as we saw within the course of the week again, we saw the under-20 preparations going further. And Augustine, we saw an intense friendly game that they had with Young Zanaco, which was played at Nkoloma Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Young Zanaco played the under-20 yesterday in a preparatory friendly. Chisimbewe has got a 29-man squad, which he needs to trim down probably to 23. And if you look at the quality of players that are on shore, you do have confidence and hope that these boys will go a long way at the tournament. We have got players like Dominic Kanda. He's moved from Chameo to Atletico. We saw a similar move with regards to Miguel Chayewa. He had moved from Chameo, went to Atletico, and the end they moved to Europe. Probably they are trying to do something in a similar fashion with Dominic Kanda, a very, very good holding midfielder. He's one for the future. The boy looks a very, very complete footballer. He's the captain of this squad, and they've got players like Happy Siko, central defender, very, very good, very, very tenacious. He's good in the air, solid on the ground. And they've got Gift Mpande. He's one who is very, very good at building up play. And yesterday when we were watching the friendly, I think I saw a different Derek Mwansa. Bulaya did very, very well, scored a couple of goals for the Young Copa Bullets. They beat Young Zanaco by 4-0. One goal was scored by Chipioka Songa. I think it was a very, very good performance overall. I saw a different Joseph Sabobo in yesterday's friendly. He was very, very live. He was looking to run at defenders. I think it's very, very positive times for the under-20, and we hope they go and do better at the tournament. You remember the last time we were at this tournament was in 2017 when we were the host. We went all the way and we won it. Then the following tournament we failed to qualify. This time around we need to qualify to the World Cup. I think that's the target when you qualify for this Africa Cup. When you reach the semi-finals, you are guaranteed a place to go into the World Cup. And we have got what it takes because we are the regional champions. We won the COSAFA, which earned us a place at the Africa Cup of Nations. The Football Association of Zambia are trying hard to try and line up very, very good friendlies to try and get the boys up to speed. You are going to play back-to-back against Nigeria. I believe 2 friendlies against Nigeria. Then we will have 1 friendly against Senegal, which will be very, very good. I think it will be very, very good for the boys to try and have a feel of international football before a major tournament, because you have to have in mind that some of these under-20 players at these their Super League clubs, they're not getting a lot of game time, so they need to get up to speed in terms of going to the tournament. And I think these boys will qualify for the World Cup because they have got what it takes.
Let's look at the intense friendly matches that have been organized. When we look at Nigeria, Augustine, it's not something that would say there is more team and Senegal. And for me, I would give applause to Faz. But coming to these games, how best will this help Chisimbewe to select the best?
Yeah, I think we must give credit to the Football Association of Zambia, the friendlies that they have organized for the boys. I think Lyson, the TD, is doing a very, very good. He's working tirelessly around the clock to ensure that the boys have what it takes to try and go out there and compete. And a friendly against Nigeria, it gives you a very, very good platform to try and identify your weak points and your strong points so that you can work towards those when you're going towards the tournament. And if you look at the way we played here in COSAFA, we considered was it only 1 goal. In this region we dominated, but it will be different ball game when you play the West Africans, because they bring a lot of physicality into the game. They've got a lot of energy, so we need to match that when we play these friendlies. I think it will help us identify where are we in terms of without the ball and with the ball, because most teams, when you're playing friendlies or you are winning games, you do not realize your strong points and your weak points. But when you are exposed, Nigeria will expose us a little bit. They will try and pose questions that we need to have answers, and it will help Chisimbewe and this technical bench to work on, to know which areas they need to work on going into the tournament. And up front, I think it's an area where I'm very, very much excited to see what boys like Kings Mutandwa will bring to the table. He's a very, very powerful striker. He links up play very well. He's a willing runner. He runs the channels. He's willing to run in behind. He's going to give us that dimension going at the Africa Cup of Nations. It will be a very, very good platform for a boy to announce himself at a very, very big stage and probably do bigger things in the future when it comes to his career.
You know, if you've been following the show, last week we had a look at some of the players that might join the under-20, and we mentioned a couple of names, but for today we just wanted to take the highlights in terms of the friendly games that have been organized. For now, we'll just take a very short break as we come back with one of our very own, who is Uncle Rapson.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generation Wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet Channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
We celebrate for all you've done, Lord. We give you all the praise. Oh, we testify. We celebrate for all you've done, Lord. We give you all the praise.
We've been joined by one Uncle Rapson, the predictor himself, who predicted that Red Arrows was going to be beaten last week, and it happened. But anyway, Uncle Rapson, welcome to the show.
Augustine, am I forgiven?
You're very much forgiven. I think.
Let me respond to Amos. No, thank you very much. My sincere apologies. Sometimes you can't predict the weather, but I'm glad to be here. It's all by the grace of God that we went throughout the course of the week in good health, and we are here to discuss nothing but the best. And to our viewers who've been following us, we would like to say thank you for sticking with us, and we are here for nothing but the best. And Augustine suffered my prediction last week, and he's here smiling.
I think the good part is that I don't go into hiding. I've been very, very brave. I had to show up, and I would have been somewhere in Lumwana, but I had to show up so that I show that I'm very, very courageous, and I'm positive results return. I think it's been a very, very bad spell for the airmen. We've been through such. I think in 2014 it was 8 games. Now it's 5. I think
It's only 5.
Yeah, it's only 5. We can go up to 10. It's that bad.
And like Augustine has confirmed, he's confirming to say he doesn't go into hideout. And hopefully he'll never go into hideout.
Uncle Rapson has been celebrating the entire week. Yes, he was in Musakire.
Oh, that's the lateness. but then for our viewers, if you want to participate, the numbers are just there on your screens. You can just give us a call and participate on what you feel like made your week this past week. But Augustine, we saw something on the transfer where we were looking at Faxon Kapumbu. And it's something that he has to come from Zesco, and the same Zesco are the ones that parangasheted Red Arrows. So I don't know if it's a gift from them or what.
I think there are a number of players that have been released by Zesco United, and Faxon Kapumbu is one of them. Red Arrows have seen this as an opportunity to try and strengthen in terms of that defense, which has been leaking, which has been leaking in a lot of goals. We must, yeah, it has been leaking in a lot of goals, and Faxon Kapumbu is signed a short-term contract with an option to extend. So he's coming in to try and rectify those problems that has been in Red Arrows defense. Left back has been an area of concern. Defensive-wise, there are always question marks with Prosper Chiluya. He's very, very good going forward. He's going to give you a lot of dimension, especially when he is giving you the width. But defensive-wise, it's why he's found wanting. Kapumbu come in. 1, he brings you experience. 2, he brings you leadership and winning mentality. He's from Zesco United. You cannot get waste players from Zesco United. He's got that winning mentality. He's won the league. He's won the Absa Cup. Even at Zanaco, he was a successful player. So he's going to come in, and his leadership skills, his communication skills, he'll try and improve the Red Arrows defense. And at this age, from me looking at it from another point of view, probably he can slot as a centre back with the experience that he has gotten. He can play as the left side, the centre back, just to come the defense. Probably Chisimbe will find a role to try and see how Kapumbu will play, but he's not guaranteed coming in to play the remaining games of the season. He has to compete with Prosper Chiluya and Kepson Kamanga in that regard.
Well, for me, I think that's a very, very big gain if you ask me about the Faxon Kapumbu joining Red Arrows. Fantastic news when you look at what they are going through now. The morale of the players is down. One big player with a lot of experience that can make a difference is one of them, is Faxon Kapumbu. Joining that squad, the left flank, we've seen how Prosper has been having challenges. We've seen how Kepson Kamanga, we've seen how this tall guy was given a red card at Unimboila Stadium. You know, it's just a situation where everybody else at Red Arrows is at their lowest. I was glad to see them engaging a psychologist during the course of the week to try and a psychologist stroke, a motivational speaker, who's probably going to try and boost their morale to come back to reality and realize their own personal and individual potential, so that even as they go and face their fellow strugglers in Kansashi Dynamos this afternoon, they'll be able to become a better side of the two struggling teams. Remember, Kansashi Dynamos are probably getting into the draw masters. Of course, they've never won a game in their last 5 games. Same thing applies to Red Arrows. They've never won a game. I think the last time they won a game was against Nkwazi Football Club, and for them to find themselves, I think they must have even flown, and if I'm not mistaken, it's too far for them to get on the road to Kansashi to go and face Boyd Muranda's Kansashi Dynamos, and it will be very, very interesting to see how they bounce back from their 5-game losing streak. Let's
look at the resigning of Lazarus Kambole from Yanga back to Zesco United, where it all began for me. It was his successful at the time when he was at Zesco, and it made him have the big move, but it never went as planned. Will he regain his form again?
If you look at Lazarus Kambole, during the time that he had a very, very successful spell at Zesco United, was under the same coach, George Luandamina. You remember Lazarus Kambole moved from Konkola Blades to Zesco United. At the start, it wasn't very, very easy for him. He took time for him to try and live up to expectation at Zesco United, and he had 2 brilliant seasons, which saw him in a move to Kaizer Chiefs. It didn't work well for him there. He scored about 2 goals in 58 games, and he moved to...
You should have said 2 goals in 3 years.
In 3 years, well said, 2 goals in 3 years. So he moves to Yanga, where he never did even kick a ball in a competitive encounter? I don't think so, because you remember they have got a certain limit of foreign players in Tanzanian league, and Yakobo and Lazarus Kambole were not registered because the number of foreign players they had exceeded at Yanga. Now he gained a very, very short window during this off season when there was the World Cup. They brought them back with Yakobo to try and fight for a place if they can gain that one slot for a foreign player. But you've seen now Yanga have gone for Kennedy Musonda, so those two guys are it's done for them. They had to find moves for them, and a move to Zesco United on a short term, probably to try and get his career back on track and find another move probably in the near future. It hasn't worked for him at Yanga or Kaizer Chiefs. He's back home. We hope you hit the ground running, but the league is not the same. When he left 3 years ago, it's different. Zesco United is different. The South play is different, but I just hope...
including Red Arrows is different.
Yeah, it's different. They are now losing. So I think what you can get for Kambole, if he can give them 5 goals from now to the end of the season, it will be a very good signing.
The 5 goals, that
5 goals.
He
failed to score in 3 years.
If he can.
Okay, let me give credit to Coach Chicken George. I think I'll give him a round of applause for making that bold decision to try and resuscitate the career of one Lazarus Kambole. This player is not a bad player. He's got an instinct of Olivier Giroud, where he's nowhere near the target, but the coach is always playing. This is one guy that creates that chance, that opportunity to allow other players who are very creative and aggressive to take those opportunities when he's busy tormenting defenders. He never finds the back of the net that regularly, but I think the impact that is going to make at Zesco United will be here, and we'll be discussing that. When you look at, like Augustine gave a brief history of where he came from, before he made a move into South Africa, this is one guy who was their main striker under the same coach, Chicken George Rwandamina, who probably understands his personal abilities better than any other coach on the continent of Africa. He's given him a second chance to come and showcase his own skills at Zesco United, and it will be very, very interesting to see how Lazarus Kambole fits in that team, especially that he's coming at a time when they were from beating a certain team by 3-0. And what team is that?
The one in Charleston.
The good part is that a certain team in Charleston, which was in Red House Football Club, has lost 5 games on the spin. And there's a certain team in Kitwe, which is wearing red, called Ghana. They have never gotten close to Red Arrows. Even if Red Arrows is losing 5 games.
It's true.
So that team is relegation form.
No problem. We're talking about Lazarus Kambole here.
Yes,
because he's just connecting faced a certain team last week. So my point here is, how is he going to fit in a team that is doing so well, in which team their last game they performed so well and beat a certain team by 3-0? That was last weekend.
Yes.
So for him to find his feet in that team that is winning by 3-0, we are not focusing on the team that lost. It's the team that won. How good is he? And how
and fighting for a place,
to fight for a place in a team that scores 3 against some team in Chelsea.
And just shifting our attention to Kitwe, a certain team from Musakire, which got beat by a certain team from Chambishi, which said our first win will be against these guys. They have gone to their camp, and I believe they want to sign Malan Gondwe, bring him to Ghana Stadium. Another guy who might be joining Ghana is Eric Yeme. You will remember him his time at Kansashi Dynamos and Napsa Stars. He was a very, very good footballer. He's a powerful runner. He likes to torment defenders. He did very well at Napsa, and in the end he moved to Kansashi. I think Kansashi, I remember one of their victories that season when they went down, they beat Red Arrows and Yeme scored a brace. So he's not a very, very bad player. If you look at the current Ghana team, they've lost Alex Ngonga. He's moved to TP Mazembe. Gure Chimwemwe likewise, he's moved to TP Mazembe. And it's been rumored that their goalkeeper in Marunga, Kelvin Maruma, might be headed the same direction into TP Mazembe. So you might, Ghana fans are probably in panic to try and what's happening with the football club.
How are these transfers happening? Is there a certain way on these? Are there legal procedures that are being followed, Angorapson?
Well, very difficult to confirm. I'm not in the executive to see whether there are negotiations or not.
But Ghana were fighting back during the week.
This is a situation where a player doesn't have game time, and the player decides probably to get permission, maybe on a sick leave,
to go away,
or just to go away, to go and apply his trade and see how they are doing away from the boundaries of Zambia. This is one situation where I find it very, very difficult in the way we believe in these players. Here is Besson Chambe, who has spent most of the time with the Mangani Banda, from the under-20 level all the way up to the stage where he is now. He's been his goalkeeper, given an option. We have seen how he is coming at Nkana Football Club and taking up that role as the first choice goalkeeper at the expense of one Kelvin Malunga, who at some point we were advocating that probably
national team call-up.
Yes,
he was brilliant for Ghana last season.
So
yeah,
to see that he's been sidelined and the coach is preferring to go for Mangani. That's one player who's a goalkeeper who's looking at himself as, I am very ambitious, I am very skillful, I need game time. I don't blame Kelvin Malunga for doing that, except the correct procedure has to be followed. That's
true. But if you look at the two other guys, Alex Ngonga, probably it was the frustration of the ban. He had to do something with his career. I think there was probably a mutual understanding between Ghana and the player. They felt that it was right for both parties. And looking
actually,
at
he can't play a competitive game at the moment.
Yeah, but what happens is that he will go into Congo. He won't be playing in the league, but he can play in the continental football because that's a different setup. Yeah, because he was banned for the league matches, not for international football. So Alex Ngonga, TP Mazembe, their ambition is to go further in continental football. They will use him in that regard. And if you look at Aguirre Chimwemwe, his contract situation at Ghana, I think it has been rambling for quite a while now. I think his contract came to an end. They signed a short-term contract. Again, they didn't find a better solution to his situation at Ghana. Probably that's why he had to move to TP Mazembe. And on the other side, Nchanga Rangers, big loss. They've lost their talisman in Christian Saide. It was coming. It was coming. I think. But if you look at the history of Nchanga Rangers, you wouldn't be surprised. Patson Daka, Fashion Sakala, Dostan Zawata. The list is endless. Emmanuel Banda. They are a selling club, Nchanga Rangers.
They have a very good philosophy. That's why in the country, they are the best well-dressed team by Hamel.
Yeah.
Very good kit that they have, very good replicas. They are in the business of selling. and for me, really, Christian Saide is living at the right time in his career. Very right time. He's a young man. Yes, he is. Had he spent another 1 year at the Nchanga Rangers, probably all of you would have been saying he's a very average player, because when you see the form of Nchanga Rangers, where he has brought them up, when you are looking at history, okay, it takes me back to why they even dismissed their coach. The way some of these administrators, a coach brings you into the Premier League, you are playing so well and you dismiss the coach. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But this is a player who's leaving Nchanga Rangers at the best time of his career. He's been given a chance to go and showcase his skills in South Africa at Kaizer Chiefs, and we can only hope that he doesn't follow into the footsteps of one Lazarus Campbell.
And they have gone back into the window. Nchanga Rangers, our understanding is that they've gotten Joseph Kanema from Green Eagles on a short-term loan until the end of the season. Then they have made another signing from an attacking midfielder from Congo. It's exciting to see how these signings pan out. And before we close the chapter on transfers, the league leaders, Power Dynamos, they lost Kennedy Musonda, but they've gone in the market. They've gone, is it Thomas Chedue, something like that, from Forest Rangers, and Austin Mowo. I saw him in the 4th-team tournament at Ngoloma Stadium, Red Arrows, Green Eagles, Zanaco, and Zesco United. And I knew he was going to struggle at Zesco United because he was off the pace, and it has proved to be that. Now he's going to Power Dynamos. Power Dynamos have revamped a lot of careers. Ngukamlenga was one of them. Now it's Austin Moore going there. Probably he will get some game time and improve, because the signing they made in the summer.
The blind striker in Boyd.
Yeah, the signing they made in the summer. Power Dynamos wanted. They went in the market for an attacking midfielder, and they got Lennon Muma from Forest Rangers. It hasn't happened for him at Power Dynamos. Second spell, same results. I think now they've gotten in for Austin Moore to try and give them that spark, that creativity in central midfield together with Joshua Mtali.
Let's before we take a look at the fixtures for today, let's just take a quick look at the games that were played last week. We had Chambishi, who lost to Green Buffaloes, that's by 3 goals to 0. FC Muza managed to beat Green Eagles by 1-0. I think this one was predicted.
Yes,
Corruption.
yes. I was very sure. Especially after I saw the game the previous week on the Friday when GBFC hosted the Muza at Edwin Imbola Stadium. I could tell, and last week I confidently spoke here that the way Muza is playing, and remember I added some spices to the story when I talked about the venue being Mazabuka. That's a slaughterhouse.
For victims.
So probably victims are falling there.
Looking at what Muza has achieved this season, this might backfire for them next season because there's that second season syndrome which we always see in the Super League. You do well this season and the following season you're going back.
As long as they won't sell players.
What? No, because they cannot hold on to top class players that they have. It will be difficult. It will be difficult.
Let's be honest, Augustine.
How many
top class players do they have?
They have got Andrew Piri, top class. They have got Chipo Sondashi, very good.
He's a student, he can't go anywhere.
He's a very good footballer. We are talking about him as a footballer. Then we have got Kelvin Mwanza, he's part of this under-20 team, probably will travel with them to the Africa Cup of Nations. It will be another addition to his CV.
Okay, the bottom line, Augustine, here for Muza, let's appreciate this. They look for young talent.
Yes,
young talent that is aggressive enough
exactly
to perform and participate and pose challenges in the Premier League. All those are youngsters. They have the experience of Monga Ndala in goals. You need that.
Yes.
And I think the blend that they have created there, and I'm sure even as we speak, their scouts are busy in secondary school, in colleges, and for youngsters that are untapped talents.
Yes, exactly.
So I don't think it will be very shocking in their second season. When you look at the way they have been giant killing big teams and managing to pick points away from.
I think one thing we get from the Super League is that you'll be found out at some point. People will study you, they'll pay a lot of
but
attention.
I think for FC Muza, if we look at FC Muza, they've come with a different. I think it's a different ball game.
Yeah, this season they look very good.
Because we've seen the likes of the likes of Kafio Celtics. They came with a banger.
Kafio Celtics. What happened with Kafio Celtics is that Kafio Celtics played the same brand of football with Muza, attacking teams, but the biggest difference was, like Corruption's mentioned, experience. They never had a Monga Ndala in their team, but Muza has that, so you can see Hawasimbi.
Going to control that middle of the pack on the wing side, on the left side of the wing.
Exactly.
You find that they are combining youngsters with experience.
Players that have done it at a high level. So I think Muza look very good.
And that's what Man United is lacking, by the way, if we shift. If you remember what happened to Anton.
Yes.
When he was punished for dribbling too much when we needed to score, he was suspended for 2 games. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you need that experienced player at FC Muza who's going to tell the youngsters to say, you know what, you're overdoing things. We need to focus on what we are here for.
Exactly.
Stop overdoing things. Let's go and score. Monga Ndala will command his defense. And I saw how GBFC struggled to just get that equalizer at Edwin Imbola Stadium. Monga Ndala was all over giving instructions in that defense, and you could tell that the youngsters were running rings around the players. The experienced ones were holding the team together, and that's how they've been succeeding.
And moving forward, we saw Forest Rangers drawing against Kawe Warriors, and we had Lumwana Radiants playing to a goalless draw against Power Dynamos. We had Nchanga Rangers managing to beat Zanaco, and this is the best gift that Christian Saile would leave the team with, a brace.
From the penalty spot, I think...
there goes.
Controversial note. Yeah, I think controversial note. I think there goes and 3 points for Nchanga Rangers in the back, but Zanaco, who felt hard done, they felt decisions were not going their way in that game in Chingola, and credit must go to Christian Saile. I think he was very brave. This is Nchanga Rangers' leading scorer, and he got them over the line. First victory for Agre Chiange, since he has been appointed the head coach of this football club.
We saw Ngana managing to beat Budicon, and for this one, Angorapson, it's something that...
it was shocking.
I predicted it.
But Augustine predicted it.
Yes, but it was very shocking. Very shocking. You know where you get shocked.
Yes.
Not if you're happy, you just get shocked at it.
We've won.
Yeah, so it was a very good victory.
And it was a weird experience watching Red Arrows at Nkoloma Stadium. Red Arrows being beaten by 3-0, and then every time a goes in Busakile, they will be shout Kalampa. Kana fans, I think.
Did you see Augustine's status?
Apparently, I was a little bit busy during the course.
There's, I think I failed to get it because it excited me, where I don't know what was happening. Red Arrows was down, and then there just goes the camera straight on Augustine, and he was like this.
Oh, they recognize to get hold of his. That's what happens when you get shocked. I told Augustine, I said, from here, I'll just pick up a phone call and have a very small child with George Chicken one time. To manage how to maneuver around at this stadium in Chelsea, and the result was very overwhelming. It was encouraging.
Concluding the games for last week, we had Prison Leopards that managed to draw with Kansanshi, and we had the last game now that was Red Arrows was beaten by Zesco United and a Collins Sikombe hat-trick.
That's all. Don't talk about it so much. Go to the next one.
I think Collins Sikombe hat-trick, his first hat-trick in the Super League, it was very, very impressive, especially when you look at what Enoch Sakala brought into the game when he came in as a super sub. Because I think, in all fairness, if you look at that game, Red Arrows would have been leading 3-0 at halftime. They had the number of chances, the better chances than Zesco United in the first half. They didn't capitalize. That's where now you see that Red Arrows are a team which is lacking in confidence. The mentality is not right. Zesco United score one goal and they are all over the place. Another minute they concede a very, very schoolboy mistake by the defenders. They can't stick to basics. I think this is what they need to do this afternoon if they were to get any result in Kansas. They need to stick to basics. Let the defenders defend.
I'm sure at some point Augustine thought Red Arrows had to red card.
Let's look at some of the games that are being played today. Let's first touch the game that's Chambishi hosting FC Muza and Grabson, and FC Muza that we are just from talking, and we are looking at the Chambishi team that is sitting on position number 14, playing against an FC Muza which is on fire at position number 4, and FC Muza is on 31 points and Chambishi is on 23 points. A win for Muza.
Chambishi Football Club is playing at home. Very, very difficult hunting ground. I think Ghana Football Club can attest to that fact. And, well, GBFC they traveled there last weekend and managed to silence the home team by 3-0. And when you look at that kind of result for a team that is right in the relegation zone, or just about the relegation zone, you will realize that it will not be easy for them to accept to lose at home back-to-back losses. 3-0 against GBFC was enough punishment for them. I'm sure the whole week they have reorganized and they are planning hard. But again, at the same time, you can't write off a back-to-back loss when you're facing an unpredictable
FC Muza.
FC Muza. It's very, very, very difficult.
And they're playing to go at position number 2.
And for me, it's a very, 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 very difficult game for Chambishi Football Club because the spirit is very high at FC Muza. They were back-to-back wins from beating GBFC, from beating Green Eagles, and now they travel to go and beat a team that is struggling to probably defend their status and remain in the Super League. Very, very difficult encounter. For me, it's going to be a draw game.
And they've got issues Chambishi at the moment. Like I had said, Malan Gondo is rumored Nkana interested in him. Then they have got Andy Boela. He's nowhere to be seen. I think. Andy Boela is nowhere to be seen. I think. Then you look at the situation. Ever since Loyington Mujembe was given this permanent appointment as the head coach, they haven't won any game. So I think he needs to get the act right before they change their mind.
Now, they have already typed a letter, it's pending a signature. One of the signatories is probably not around. After this game, you'll see that heads are
ultimatums.
Ultimatums will be issued.
We've got an early kickoff of Green Buffaloes hosting Changa Rangers and Corruption, and this is a game that if Green Buffaloes drops on points and FC Muza manages to win, meaning FC Muza flogs Green Buffaloes.
Interesting fixture, lunchtime fixture at Sunset Stadium, and GBFC is bouncing from, is very, very happy in the backroom staff after bouncing off that beautiful response after their loss to FC Muza. They went and responded very, very positively away from home in Chambishi by beating Chambishi Football Club by 3-0. Them hosting Changa Rangers, who is also from very, very good result, a very controversial result, like Augustina said, where we saw Nchanga Rangers beating Zanaco Football Club by 2-1 in Chingola. Very, very, very difficult game, if you ask me. And without Christian Saidi, the morale in the team, probably they needed a psychologist like one team from Charleston went through them in the course of the week for them to believe, to have their self-belief within the team that they can actually do it even without their top man. So we are yet to see how they are going to respond, but given a choice, given an opinion, GBFC advantage this time.
Augustine, FC Moz are giving Green Buffaloes the pressure, because once they drop points and FC Moz manages to win, it's a different story.
Yeah, I think it's very, very tight for GBFC coming up against this Nchanga Rangers side. The last time these two teams met in Chingola, it ended in a draw, and GBFC showed experience in that game because Nchanga Rangers were throwing everything at them, but they were very, very calm, composed. They remained compact throughout the game, and coming at Sunset Stadium, GBFC, I think the biggest problem is they do not have a home ground. That's the biggest challenge that they have. They are playing all over.
Do you have home ground?
We use Goroma, and we are always using Goroma.
No, we're talking about home.
Home,
So
that's
when
a
you're
home
renting a
ground.
house, it's a house.
It's home. It doesn't change the fact that it's home.
It's home.
And everyone knows that
No,
Goroma
actually-
Stadium is home for Red Arrows.
Actually, you are right.
So-
BFC, they switch. Sometimes they'll play host at Woodland Stadium, they go to Imboida.
That's the biggest
They are
problem.
nomads.
So you do realize it's more of a neutral venue for teams that are playing GBFC.
So it gives
the
them
last
advantage.
Time, the last
again
time
to
they
the-
came to Sunset Stadium, has used it at their home ground. They got beat 3-1, was it by Green Eagles.
Green Eagles.
So you do realize that teams will be coming there without any fear. They know, okay, they are the home team by default, but they are going to go on the field of play, and it's an even game. And I'll be excited to see what Kundan Kandu can do at Sunset Stadium. It's a place where he is familiar with. He was part of Young Zanaco, but the senior team didn't think he was good enough to play for them. They let him go to Nchanga Rangers, and he has done wonders. And I can safely say right now, the form is in. He can walk straight into that Zanaco team, and he will try and show his former employers that he is a very, very good player against the GBFC side. Golden Mashata, he has had a very decent season. He's one of their best players this season with George Ngoma. Can they get over the line for GBFC? Yes, I do think so. GBFC have got a slight advantage in this encounter.
Let's look at one of the big games for today. That's Zanaco hosting.
Let him tell us that. What fixture is the 15?
It's the Bankers and the record champions, Super League champions.
Oh, correct.
Your prediction, Augustine, on this one?
Big game. Two giants go head to head at Sunset Stadium. Only the grass will suffer. And if you look at the recent form of both teams, Ghana have they been very, very good travelers? I don't think so. I think the best they have been probably when they host big teams at Chilata. They have got that intimidating factor because they have got a very, very huge fan base. But even at Sunset Stadium, Ghana fans will color Sunset Stadium, and they will be more than the Zanaco fans.
I'm sure they are already there.
Yeah, and Zanaco they're psyched for that. Zanaco, they do not have a very, very big fan base. And
we are heading there.
we are heading to Sunset Stadium. We're going to witness a battle of giants, like I had mentioned. And if you look at both sides, Nkana Football Club, do they have the guy that will get them a lot of goals this season? No. They've lost Alex Ngonga. So now they depend on playing as a unit. The togetherness has to be there. They need to be very brave and aggressive. If they start strong, they can make it a nervous afternoon for Zanaco because the fans will be behind Nkana. But if they start slow, Zanaco may take advantage. Abrams Yankombo is in good form. He's running rings. Salulan P, we've seen a different Salulan P this season. He's going to try and control that midfield. Oliver Lumbia has to be on top of his game if he wants to stop Salulan P. Charles Zulu is looking like he's getting back to his best. He scored a goal against Chambishi when they hosted Chambishi in Lusaka. Probably the best result from Ghana will be a draw this afternoon. I say Zanaco win.
Well, it's a very, very tight encounter, and probably from the way I'm looking, like you can actually tell that there's a lot of trouble within myself to actually get into that stadium and watch two nice clubs that are very close to my heart, and it will be very interesting to see how Zanaco bounces back from their 2-1 loss to Nchanga Rangers, and to see whether the winning streak will continue for Ghana Football Club, that we are successful last weekend by dispatching Beautiful Football Club by 2-1, and this afternoon, as long as they are going to start that nice centre forward of theirs, I'm assured that we are going to win. Ghana Football Club is going to remain victorious, because these are two sides that I follow very closely. They are very close to my heart. One is weak, one is social, and it's a very, very difficult encounter, I must say. And for me to be very happy, a stalemate should be a very, very successful result for both teams.
Let's take a look at Power Dynamos hosting Green Eagles, and we are looking at a Power Dynamos that just lost Kennedy Msonda. But anyway, for now, we'll just take a very short break as we get back and look into that game.
Oh, we testify, we celebrate. Oh.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay
We
tuned.
testify, we celebrate. For all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise. Oh, we testify, we celebrate. Oh, for all you've done, Lord, we give you all the praise.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generation Wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Before we went on a break, I was looking at the game of Power Dynamos hosting Green Eagles, and it's a Power Dynamos that lost, who is still the top scorer in the Zambian league, and that's Kennedy Msonda. And are we seeing a Power Dynamos? We saw them signing one striker and Austin Muo. Hopefully they will bring in something.
Yeah, I think Power Dynamos we need to get those strikers scoring before now and the end of the season if they have got any realistic chance of winning the league title, because it's not going to be very, very easy for them. The first round was very good for Power Dynamos. Second round, they've dropped points back to back at home against Ngwazi and away at Lumana Regions. And if you've seen the two games, they've scored one, conceded one. They didn't score in the previous encounter against Lumana Regions. So that's a worrying part from if you look at it as a Power Dynamos fan. You are playing at home without fans, and you do not have a guy who will get you about 6 goals from now until the end of the season, because they will need someone who will get them about 6 or 7 goals from now up to the end of the season for them to have any realistic chance of winning this league title. Forest Rangers are breathing heavily. GBFC likewise, Musa are also in the conversation. They are putting pressure on Power Dynamos, and they need
Sounds bad if you don't mention one team.
Which team?
That same one. One that is not fighting to be amongst those top 4, but it's struggling.
Fighting relegation.
Down. But the most important thing is, out of what you've said, it's the word fighting. So the others who are fighting for the top 4 there,
and the others fighting for relegation. So we'll leave the boys fighting relegation to solve themselves down there, and the big boys up there. So you would see that up against the Green Eagle side under Alex Namazawa, you do not know what to expect. Whether they're going to go out there and play an attacking game, whether they'll be defensive. I think at the minute, you look at Green Eagles, you cannot really tell what Green Eagles are about at this particular time, because under Agre Chiange, they were a very solid side. They'll hit you on a counter. They're very, very difficult to break down. But under Alex Namazawa, I think you do not know where they are. Are they an attacking side? Are they a defensive side? Because they are leaking in goals and they're not scoring a lot. So I think there are a lot of question marks surrounding the style of play with regards to Alex Namazawa. And going at Arthur Davis, it will be very, very difficult for them against the Power Dynamo side. Yes, they are going to be without the fans, but Power Dynamos, that's their turf. They're used to playing that champagne kind of football. They'll make it difficult for Green Eagles, and probably Power Dynamos will be back to winning ways this afternoon.
And just a quick one, due to time, we've got other games that are being played. We've got BGCon hosting Forest Rangers, we've got Napsa Stars hosting Lumwana Radiance, and we've got Kansanshi Dynamos hosting Red Arrows, the team that Uncle Rapsono is called, a certain team from Charleston.
It's our team from Charleston. I now know the name, it's Red Arrows.
And I think
interesting
encounter, I think it's Lumwana Radiance up against Napsa Stars.
Actually coming to that game.
You look at the previous meetings, Lumwana Radiance have had the better of Napsa Stars in this encounter.
For the last 2 years.
Yes.
But Uncle Rapsono, what happened last week? How did you manage to console the two brothers?
Well, it was a battle of the two brothers, and well, in the end, one young man showed courage and just emerged victorious among the two. But it was a very, very good game to watch. And when you look at Napsa Stars hosting Lumwana Radiance this afternoon, I am seeing the hunger at that Napsa side. The hunger wanting to win games is there. The way they are pushing, the way they are collectively going forward, and the way they are collectively defending. I think that's a very, very huge credit to the Napsa Stars.
Let's try to pick this call. Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. That's all from Tuesday.
Just so you can go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, I'm no, go ask me. You are happening only let down that topic.
Ghana in trouble, yes, I agree.
Our year, I'm telling you, this is our year.
Yes, Ghana will cry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our
Just please, we need you to call us next week again when this result finishes today, so that you try and remind us on the 2-0 that you're predicting. But a very, very good statement from Justo, and you can see the passion in him. It's our hero wanting to win that title for a very, very first time in a very, very long time. And it will be interesting to see how they respond after the dispatch of Kennedy Msonda into Tanzania. And like Augustine has already talked about that game, let's focus on the other games. I'll pick the Napsa Stars versus Lumwana Radiance. It's been 2.5 years. They were beaten home and away in the qualifiers in the race to the Premier League. Lumwana Radiance emerged victorious both home and away. And back in the Premier League, we saw Napsa Stars traveling to Lumwana, and they dropped all the 3 points in Lumwana. And now Lumwana Radiance is back in Lusaka for that second leg. And we're yet to see how an informed Napsa Stars reacts to that streak of losses against Lumwana Radiance this afternoon. And these are some of the games that I was trying to talk about. So some of these fixtures, honestly speaking, you football administrators and organizers, especially the league manager, surely some of these fixtures you should be stretching them. You can't have a double header in Lusaka, a very, very big double header where you know that Karampa puts the entire nation to go and watch a match, and then you put the Napsa Stars on the same day, in the same town. Really, one team should have been pushed into Sunday.
I think that's a very, very good point. It has been a cry even for journalists in Zambia. I think everyone has been crying about the same thing. Why do we have 15 hours kickoff? All of the games.
Yeah.
I think we need to try and change.
Maybe we need to change. Let's introduce the game of maybe.
I think you look at the way they do it in the Premier League. They have got an organized, they have got an organized sequence whereby I can manage to go and watch game at Nkoloma Stadium, move to Sunset Stadium, and then end up at Hero Stadium.
The games which they will put at the same time, they will be in different towns.
Exactly.
The ones that are being played within the same town, you see that one has an early kickoff.
Exactly.
The other one will play later. The ones that you see playing at the same time, just know that their towns are very
I think for argument's
That
sake,
is how we manage it.
even the selectors of these under 20, under 20s, how do they
How
even
do they
manage?
watch all the games?
Abraham
Even
Grant,
the scout-
Abraham Grant
Abraham
can only
Grant
be at
is-
one place.
yes.
So he will be at Sunset. What if there's something good
In fact, when
at
you
Hero
look at
Stadium?
the two teams that are playing at Heroes, if you ask me, when you look at the fixtures that are at Sunset, one of the biggest and interesting fixtures is actually Napsa Stars versus Lumwana Radiant.
Yes.
Napsa Stars is on the rise. They've been winning games. They are not dropping points. And that is a team that you'd want to follow to say, let me see what is causing this team to be this consistent. Abraham Grant is torn apart. He has to be at Sunset Stadium because there are 4 teams playing there. And he has to go and watch all of them. And tomorrow he will have nothing to do on a Sunday. He will probably, there will be no game in Lusaka. Honestly speaking, to the league manager Brian Mlenga, I think you need to do a little bit better with fixtures. I must say.
And that's a good observation, Ango Rapson, and it seems a lot of us never foresee this, and it's something that can benefit a lot of stadia and maybe just get takings even.
Yes,
you see, because like you've said, if Augustine manages to watch a game at 14, that's by Ngoloma Stadium. He treks to
Another one at Sunset
another one
Stadium.
at 16, another one at Hero Stadium. That's at 18. So meaning at least get takings will be quite okay, and that's something that has to be looked into. I think coming to the next
now,
season.
when you look at the current status of what is happening, Hero Stadium will just be opened to those boys, those small boys. Who sit on the left side.
Those are the only ones
They are
that
the
will
only
be at
ones who
Hero
are-
Stadium.
Who's going to miss the Nkana game in Lusaka? Well, anyway, to those who support Napsa Stars, we are meeting at Hero Stadium at 15 hours as Napsa Stars play host.
And one shocker is that Napsa Stars is playing against Lumwana Radiants at Hero Stadium. Then at Independence Stadium, there's a double header for the National League. So I think to me, who does that? It's just a stone throw away, and then you've got a double header in the other stadium, and then a Super League game. And they've got Trident against young Buffaloes, and then in an early kickoff, you've got Cafesetic against Burungu Harbour. So I think to me, it's
And there will be no games tomorrow. Eh?
exactly
All of them
Sunday
are
will
playing.
be no games.
A boring Sunday tomorrow. It's just change. No fixes. But due to time, let's just take a quick look at the games that are being played today in the EPL. We've got an early kickoff that's at 14:30, and it's Liverpool hosting Chelsea. And then at 17 hours, we've got AFC Bournemouth hosting Nottingham Forest, Leicester City hosting Brighton, Southampton hosting Aston Villa, West Ham United hosting Everton, Crystal Palace hosting Newcastle United. That's at 19:30. But Ango Rapson tried to support Isaac on this one. He's been so eager about this game starting yesterday. Even today, he's just saying Chelsea is beating Liverpool.
You know, if there are certain teams that even if you brought a replica for free, I can't give it. It's a team that Isaac supports. And because he's the one in charge of controlling us, I will probably give him a benefit of the doubt this afternoon as they play away at Anfield to Liverpool Football Club in that fixture of two struggling giants in the English football. And it will be very, very interesting to see how the outcome turns out to be. And if you ask me, a scoring draw is what I'm predicting in that particular game.
I think it's interesting how Liverpool have been dubbed as this struggling side. I think I was looking at a certain stat. I think is it in the last 7 or 8 games, Liverpool have picked up 18 points and Manchester City have picked up 19 points. Why are people calling Manchester City struggling? So you can see that it has been difficult for Liverpool because they got a lot of draws. They've already lost about 6 games this season, and they're coming up against a Chelsea side who are buying whoever they see on the transfer gossip column. If Arsenal is interested in him, we're going to buy him. If Man United is interested in him,
I'm sure they even have scouts here.
Look at Modric, the guy they got from Shakhtar Donetsk. He didn't look like he was happy joining Chelsea. he never smiled on any single pitch on the game. I think to me, one thing what they've done, Chelsea, I think the strategy that they're doing is that they're getting the hot young promising talent in Europe. These are young promising talents who big clubs have been looking at, but they haven't signed them. They've got Bedashir, I think the centre back from Monaco. They are all under the age of 23. I think at as at now, we might be laughing and say Chelsea are buying everyone who has got legs, but 3-4 years from now, Chelsea will be a very big force with these young boys that they are bringing in, because they have got that future plan. They have got a strategy where to try and see if even you look at the contracts that they're signing, it's 8 years, 8.5. They have got a long-term plan with these boys that are bringing in. They'll spend now and won't spend much in the future. But against Liverpool, sorry Isaac, Chelsea is losing by 2-1.
Anyway, due to time, I think Isaac will end up switching us off before we even say our bye-byes. I'm going to on your final remarks before Isaac does the...
It's been a fantastic show, very, very fantastic, very, very nice show. I enjoyed myself, and to our dear viewers who keep following us and who are listening to our discussions and how we just dissect the activities on the football pitch by different clubs. Keep watching the Z League, and this afternoon, please find your way to the stadium nearest to your place and just support that Zambian football and make your presence count in that particular venue. And we'll see you next weekend from my end. Thank you so much, and all the best to Man United as we play Arsenal tomorrow.
Augustine.
I think a big thanks to the entire production team for making this possible, and a big thanks to all the viewers out there for always making time to watch us. We always appreciate your effort and your support. Go and watch Bola Yapazedi. Check to the nearest stadium and watch Bola Yapazedi. I would like to urge the Power Dynamos fans, since you are not allowed to go at Arthur Davis Stadium, let's gang up and support Zanaco at Sunset Stadium.
Anyway, that's why we come to the end of the show, and from the whole entire production team, I've been your host Amos, aka Amore. It's bye-bye. See you next week, same place, same time. For now, stay glued, because Amazing Atamanda is coming on your screens with the weekly gospel.